big one on that side is not finished, and then the kitchen is not finished, but it's on this side. Buffet style kitchen. So
This is the original.
yeah.
That's right.
Just on this. This will be our best attended meeting. Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
So I didn't eat it.
While I got all y'all down here, anybody needs a restroom, women's on the
Ronnie goes behind the bar, make sure you be there. Sir, when Ronnie goes behind the bar, make sure you go by.
Young man, here, let me show you. Yeah, but it's slipped. I got tight.
Everybody have a seat.
I'd like to welcome everyone today, and would like to thank Kim Sokol for arranging this for us because I know we're all going to enjoy it. Our schedule today, we're going to go on tour first, and that will hopefully be completed in about an hour. Then we will eat. And I ask all the gentlemen if you would help Ken and I, when we get back, help set up the tables which are out here on the porch and the chairs, and then we will have our lunch. So our schedule is we're going to go on tour and then we will eat. So hopefully that'll be a little more organized. And because we may be a little scattered at this time, I'm going to ask Bill McNeely if he will return thanks for the blessing for today's meal at this time.
Let us pray. Lord our God, we give you thanks for the beauty of this day, for the fellowship of family and friends in our Rotary. We give you thanks especially for the hospitality of Ronnie and Sarah Wallace in having us here. And we pray that you will bless the food for our use and us to your loving service, that we may ever be mindful of the needs of others. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Okay. For the few that might not know, Sarah Wallace is the principal at the Fayetteville Elementary, and she's also one of the hosts today. And this is a token of our club's appreciation for all the trouble y'all have gone to allow us to come today. And so we'd like to give you this. Thank you. Ken, I'm going to turn it over to you. Ken Sokol.
Something special, isn't it? It is. Members of the Rotary Club, yes, my pleasure to introduce you to the man that is responsible for all of it. As you can imagine, he's a man with many talents and many successes. He owns and operates a nationally recognized construction firm. He's a land developer, a property developer, owns several large farms and raises prize cattle. And as you can see, in addition to all that, also a connoisseur of art and antiques. We look forward to the tour that you will give us here in a few moments. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Ron Wallace.
Well, let us welcome everyone here to River Bend, and we hope that you enjoy the day, and when you leave here, you can tell people, well, I saw something just a little unique for this area, but that's what we had tried to create here. If it's not unique, we missed a point. Because of the limited time that you've got, and assuming that everybody would like to take a tour, I'll try to keep this real short, and when we do the tour, we'll start down this side and wind up back up here. I'll tell you about a few pieces as we go by, and if anybody has a question or wants to know about something, just stop me right there and we'll do the best we can to tell you about it. First, about the facility. This was an old walking horse barn. There's two barns like this, or known to exist, identical to this in the United States. This is not the original. This is a copy of the original. The original is located in Spring Hill, and it is on the farm that is now Saturn. And they took theirs and they saw so much character in it as I did here, they want to do something nice with it. So instead of tearing that building down, they made it into business center. This one had so much character, and I was going to have to build a sale barn. And by the way, this is a cattle sale barn. I was going to have to build a sale barn. I wanted to do something unique. I'm told that the owners of that farm allowed 3 people to come from this farm up there and measure. There was no plans. Take measurements and drawings and come back and build this, and it was done in about 1926. It still has, excuse me, it still has the original roof. One of my worst fears for today is that it'll rain, because we got some sprinkler systems that it does. The roof's never been replaced. I have ordered new steel for it, and it came in last week, but I wouldn't let them start messing up with y'all coming. They're going to start early in the morning if it's not raining. So next time, maybe we won't have to be concerned with that. This area up here is actually a cattle sale ring. This is portable floor, and then there's spots here in the floor, as you can see, and we just got rails that stand up there. Sawdust is under this, so this is a sale ring, bring cows in one side and out the other, but you can convert it back to the stage in about an hour's time. Anybody got any questions they want to ask before we take a little walk? If not, we'll, because of this limited time thing, we'll just take a walk around through here and I'll point out some things as we go. Others are coming up here. I'm just going to sort of touch on things as we go. Now, most of the things that I buy and things I have bought for the last 2 or 3 years, they just don't come to my house unless they have some historical significance, and that historical significance has to be proven or provable. So for the last 3 or 4 years, you can imagine that my purchases have been better purchases, but a lot rarer, because it's hard to find them with the pedigree that you want and something that you can prove. Just for the ladies, this is a Minton, or Meissen rather, if you're familiar with Meissen porcelain. Very rare. This is a one-of-a-kind museum piece. It's called a plateau mirror. I assume you know that. That lamp there, that floor lamp, is all porcelain. When it's lit, the shades turn colors inside, and the paintings are just stand out. They're just gorgeous. That is a Dresden floor lamp. Now, there might be some more of them, but I've never seen another one. These statues down through here came out of the backyard around the pool area of old man Henry Ford's summer home. He had a summer place in Georgia. They are now converting that. There's a group of businessmen have bought it, and they're converting the mansion into a clubhouse, and they're putting in a golf course there. So I was able to buy these statues from around the pool, as well as some that I haven't got out yet. Okay. Now, for everybody that's ever been to Busch Gardens or Busch Stadium or drank a Budweiser beer, you helped pay for this salon set here. This salon set came out of the grand salon of old man Anheuser-Busch's personal residence. This has no historical significance like most of the stuff here, because I haven't put that type of stuff here, and up until 3 or 4 years ago, it didn't have to have a historical significance made by it. It just needed to be pretty. But this is a French floor clock. It's all Sèvres porcelain. And of course, an artist is one thing. It takes a terribly great talent, but to paint on porcelain is an art unto itself. So this is a very rare piece, and it's here not because of any significance other than the fact that I like it. Because there's a painting right up there I can show you, but there's 3 paintings on the wall in here, and they are a match to a larger one right up here, and we'll go up here and look at it, and I'll tell you a little about those. This painting is all on canvas. I could probably take the frame off and find probably a signature and a date, but it's so old and this stuff is so brittle that I don't want to do that. There's 4 of them. There's this one and the 3 in the entry foyer, all companion. So I don't know the age or the artist. What I do know is that they were in Princess Charlotte's bedroom, and she died in childbirth in 1823, so we know they're older than that. They stayed in her bedroom from 1823 until 1890. A Frenchman bought them, put them in a big chateau in the dining room. They stayed there until 1944. The then governor of Massachusetts bought them. He thought enough of them that he didn't let the state pay for them. He paid for them himself. But he put them in the governor's mansion, State House, and they stayed there through 2 terms with him. And then, of course, when he left the office, he took these with him and they went into his personal home. I bought them from his estate about 3 years ago. This is a typical boo-boo that sometimes happens with antiques. I have, along with these, I got a lot of literature. And in reading this, I found several letters being dated the earliest in 1952. And they ran through around 1955, where various Frenchmen had tried to buy these paintings back. And I have, in some cases, copies of the letter that the governor wrote back to him, thanking him nicely, but telling him his appreciation for them and that they just didn't want to sell them. Consequently, those Frenchmen evidently knew something, because in 1956 they were declared national treasures. Where the fall down was that I told you about is in 56 they're declared national treasures. He dies about 4 years ago. Nobody knows this, and they, instead of going to Christie's or Sotheby's or somebody like that to sell these, they just used a local auction house. So none of this was realized till I got into all the old paperwork that went with it. So I have a built-in market for them, but as long as I'm alive and the bank will let me, I'll keep them. Purposes. That is probably one of the best sales vases you'll ever see. It's on ball bearings. It'll spin at the tip of a hat. It's got 24 karat gold inlaid all in it. It's a fantastic piece. The lamp over here is a Parapoint lamp. Now this will take 4 bulbs and it really lights up great. I don't have but 1 in it. But what makes Parapoint so rare, number one, there wasn't many of them, but is the artistry involved. See, this is glass and this is painting, but not on the outside. It's painted on the inside, so not only are you an artist painting, you're painting in reverse, because you have to get it to come out like that. So.
How do you do that?
These, of course, here belong to the President of France, and they came out of his personal home. I do some traveling, but I got those, and as you can see, they're extremely massive, and all of this, none of this is painted. All of it is wood, different woods inlaid into wood. That's always amazed me that they could do that back when there was no power tools at all. The thickness of this thing is unreal. These were on a cabinets that were built back into the wall. I bought them because I just love them, and we're going to do an addition on to the house, and one of the things we're going to do is a new bath, dressing area, and closets. These two, this one and that one down there, is going to go on my closet doors when we do that. You can see they're not quite feminine enough for sale. I mean, earlier, the men's restroom is down this corridor, the ladies is around this other side over here. This piece is what's called a ningle nook. Now, in Europe, it's not uncommon for houses that were built 200 years ago to have 60, 80,000 square feet in them. And of course, the only means of heating those houses were fireplaces. So they built these little conversation areas around the fireplaces and built in benches and what have you. This one came out of a big manor house in London. We had to do some work on it from the column back, the back you see, and this was intact, but it was recessed into a wall, so there wasn't any steps. These pilasters wasn't on it, and of course it didn't have any ends on it because it's back in the wall, and it didn't have any cap or a spindle system. So all of that we made here, but put on it, and I think we've done a pretty good job. I don't think you would know that it wasn't original if somebody didn't tell you.
What about the mirror?
That mirror, I've got 4 of them. They came out of the dining room in Germany. I don't know anything about them other than that. There's one on each wall.
I like those.
Came out of the top of the Mark in San Francisco. Back in the mid-1800s, there was a gentleman who made a humongous fortune in railroads and then later in oil. He never was, in his lifetime, the richest man in the world, but he ranked consistently number 5, number 6. When he passed away, his wife was the richest widow in the world. Anyway, as a plaything back in the late 1800s, he decided to build some real unique hotels, and so in about 10 or 12 major cities throughout the United States, he built some hotels. They're all high-rises. And his first name was Mark, and the hotels are the Mark. Sometime after they were built, he decided to build unique private clubs on the tops of these hotels, thus top of the Mark. And that's where this came from, out of the top of the Mark in San Francisco. This, some of this stuff here may or may not interest you. This is a photograph of Geronimo. It is the only known signed photograph to exist. It has been in the Smithsonian Institute for about 8 years until we got it back last year. So anybody welcome to look at that if you like. Along those lines, I've got a few guns here that was in the Smithsonian. This one, of course, all this just old, wore out pistols, I guess. The only claim to fame this one has is it belonged to Devil McCoy, part of the Hatfield-McCoy feud up in Kentucky, and it is said to have killed 23 men. This is, well, let me show you this one first. This is a unique piece. It has absolutely no significance other than it dates back to pirate days. It is a hand weapon. It will shoot one time. Of course, after it shoots, then you just got to get in close. Yeah, you got to get him the first time. This next one is not my favorite piece of everything we've got, and if you don't let me forget it, I'll tell you about the favorite piece in a little while. It's not in the barn. But this is one of my favorite pieces. This is a pistol. This gun belonged to White Earp and was used at the Battle of OK Corral. Of course, there's only one of them. It was in the Smithsonian with the other guns I've got on loan for about 8 years. I got them back a couple of years ago. There's a casino in Las Vegas that was being built at that time that sent a man here to look at our gun collection, wanting to buy them because they was going to set up a Western display out in the lobby as you come in, and I just didn't want to part with them, so they wasn't sold, and I guess they didn't want to pay my price on the lease because I've still got them. Now, something else has no bearing on this as a pistol. It probably has some bearing on it as value. White Herb's running mate was a fellow by the name of Doc Holliday. He was also at the battle, or the OK Corral shootout. He used a 12-gauge shotgun, and the handle was broke out of it, and it's pretty rough. But anyway, I went to an auction last fall where that shotgun was sold, and I wanted it, especially after having this one. And I stayed out of the bidding for ages, and then when it really slowed down, I, not having much sense, got involved in it a little bit. But it got so high that they got to where they wouldn't take a raise unless it was a $5,000 raise. They wouldn't take anything less. And it got down to just me and one other guy. This thing was covered by all the major news. CNN was there. It was probably a real historical piece, but I didn't think that Holliday's gun was quite as valuable as Herb's. Anyway, my last bid was $252,000. I didn't bid after that. The guy raised my bid $5,000. It sold for $257,000 plus a 15% buyer's premium. Where was the sale?
Who bought it? Do you know? Where was it from?
I don't know. They don't announce that stuff most of the time. This is a unique piece, and it does have some historical significance. This is a presentation sword that was made by the Mexican government, and it's got quite a bit of decoration, both for Mexican and American on it. It's got the United States seal on the back. This was given to General Sherman. This is his presentation sword. He was, of course, sort of credited with winning the Civil War with his March to the Sea. He was recognized by Congress and is, till today, the only individual that's ever been recognized by the United States Congress and honored by him twice. And if anybody wants to look at that, there it is. While we're in the swords, we'll look at this piece. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Fabergé. Carl Fabergé was the jeweler to all the crowned heads of Europe during his time, and of course his stuff is very rare, and I know you've heard of Fabergé eggs that bring this millions of dollars. And he made a lot of walking sticks. This one is his. Of course, got the enamel handle. It's got a little ring of diamonds in it, and then a little bigger diamond in the end, but the diamond weight won't ever break you. What makes this so unique is, of all the walking sticks he made, this is the only one he ever made, thereby the only one in existence that he made that is also a weapon. It's a sword. This, tell you a little bit about some of this stuff here. The guy that was going to marry Princess Diane, what was his name? Doty. All right. His father comes into play on some of this. This and this belonged, it's just a few of the articles that belonged to the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. At their death, this gentleman, what's his name?
Doty Fayette.
All right, anyway, the old man bought the whole estate. home, all furnishings, jewelry and everything. And he was to give it to Diana as a wedding gift. But ownership never changed hands, although he had committed it to her. So if it had have changed hands, it would have then been part of her estate and we wouldn't be here talking about it. But after she was killed, he commissioned Christie's to sell all this. It took 14 days to sell it. Brought $38 million. Now, not the home and the real estate. He gave that to Diane's estate. But this stuff, he got Christie's to sell it, and they sold it at auction, and all of the money, $38 million, was given to charity in Diane's name. Of the 14-day sale, the New York Times said I got one of the best pieces in it, and this is the Duke's personal watch that was given to him. Again, this was given to him by the Mexican government for something he did, and it's got the Mexican crest and seal on one side and his personal seal on the other. This little thing here is not much to look at, but it is the oldest thing I own. This is just, it's a ring. It's probably just a rock, just a regular stone. It has been beat out to where there's a cameo in one side of it, and it will turn. What makes this important to me, number one, it's 2,600 years old. And number two, the most important person to own it, or at least the last most important person to own it, was the Duke of Wellington. Now, his claim to fame is he's the only fella ever to defeat Napoleon, and he beat Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. And I'm sure you all know that better than I do. This is a real unusual ring. This belonged to Aristotle Onassis. This was his ring. He had it made, and I'll show you a little something about it in a minute. He gave this to Jackie when they got married, and I bought it out of their estate. He sailed a lot, and in one yacht, from one yacht to another, and so they were in and out of some probably pretty rough harbors at some times. So while he wore the ring like that, you come into some of those rough areas, he just turned it around like that, and it's got a 2-carat diamond on the bottom of it. This, if you get a chance to walk by, this is an absolutely gorgeous pocket watch. It belonged to the King of Holland. It is just got some of the most fabulous colors and paintings in it, and it changes colors as the light hits it. This is a set of cufflinks that you can look at if you like. They describe the 4 vices according to the Prince of Wales, and the paintings of horse racing, gambling, drinking, and womanizing on those 4.
In that order?
I don't know about the order now. This is a real unique piece. The first known pocket watch was made in 1660. This pocket watch was made in 1680. It's what they call a clicker. And if you set it here, well, what happens, you set it, and because then they didn't have any electricity or anything, so at night you couldn't see, but you could click this and it would dong or ding, whatever you want to call it, to the nearest hour. So you could count them and you'd have some idea what time it was. What makes this so unique is who it belonged to. This belonged to the Sheriff of Nottingham. It has his seal and then of course his name on it. You're welcome to look at that if you like. Okay, I think that's about all we want to talk about. And it's just touching on some of the jewelry and things that I went to the safe deposit box and got out, but and this one here, while this has no historical significance, well, it has a history. We got any Baptists in the house? All right. About 2 or 3 years ago, for 6 or 8 months, the papers were just covered up nationwide about this black gentleman who was head of the Baptist Association and some misappropriation of funds and whatever. Well, anyway, he was running a multi-billion-dollar corporation, if you can call a church a corporation. A multi-billion-dollar business, and you know, you've heard that behind every great man is a great woman, and sometimes a woman is a man's downfall. Well, so be it with him, because of all that empire and billions of dollars, and regardless of what he had taken or not taken, he let one $400,000 ring that he had given to his mistress get shown up and called, and we bought that from the people who was liquidating the assets, trying to get some of the money back. An extremely unusual piece. This is jade. Of course, I don't know. I can only tell you what I've read and what I've been told. This piece supposedly took a father and then later on his son 30 years to carve, and it's 7.5 foot tall at the mast and 7 foot long from point to point. It sits on a rosewood base. This was first exhibited at the 1851 Crystal Palace Expo. Since then, it's been in every World's Fair that they've had, including the one in Knoxville. It's been in and out of several private collections. I bought it from a private collector in China, and it's had shelf life in 2 different museums. Let's walk right back here. Something not historical, but you'll enjoy. Let everybody get around. Has that about got them all, Kelly? Well, if we can get them in here, I'll touch on this piece a minute. It has no historical significance, but it's an interesting piece. This piece, if you're wondering what it is, it's an aquarium. It weighs about 600 pounds. Solid marble and copper, and if you'll notice, the legs are made like seahorses. The corner pieces to the glass enclosure is made like fish being down and coming up to his tail, which then becomes a shell, and then there's a light in each of those. This is an aquarium. It is maybe not the typical aquarium. I don't think they ever had goldfish in it. We've been told that there were at one time personas, if that's the way you pronounce it, kept in here, which is a fish that devour you right to the bone in a matter of seconds. Also been told that there was a couple of gigantic rattlesnakes kept in here. This piece belonged to Al Capone and was in his office for some, I don't know how long, it was a long period of time, I've forgotten. It was so significant to him and one of his favorite pieces that in 1957, I believe it was, there was a TV series made that ran for 6 or 8 years called The Untouchables. And in that series, a fellow by the name of Robert Stack played Elliot Ness, whose key role was to capture Al Capone. The producers, because this meant so much to Al Capone, the producers leased this from the Capone estate, and it appears in all of the office scenes in that where they show Capone's office. It was also leased then in '87 for the making of the movie The Untouchables that starred Kevin Costner. We bought this directly from the heirs of Capone estate. All right, let's go this way. This, does anybody know what this is? First of all, any of you ladies know what this is? It's cut crystal and emeralds. Obviously, it goes in someone of substance's dressing room, and it is in fact a storage area for perfume. Okay.
It never occurred to me about that.
Yeah, perfume. All right, let's ease on down this other end, okay? This is what they call an old-timey sedan, and the reason for the name of it is because they haul royalty. The seat goes in there, and of course put a rails under the bottom of it, and poor people would haul royalty around, and they are still used in some of the Asian countries. That's one, only that's just a miniature of one. That's a display cabinet, and of course that's a reproduction of just a display cabinet. This is original. If you have any interest, these are probably the two best 24-karat gold wall sconces you're ever going to see. Weigh about 600 pounds each. This painting here is Tiffany stained glass. You're familiar with Tiffany stained glass. And it's just gorgeous. This here in the corner is Tiffany stained glass piece. It's phenomenal, and it is backlit. We put it into a shadow box so you can get some idea of the colors on it. It's just a gorgeous Tiffany piece. It can be used as I'm using it there, or as a laminate window, whatever. Everybody up here? All right, I got a lady that asked, what is this? I knew somebody would. I'm not going to get on this too much. I am going to tell you that this is real unique. I was contacted by some people in Europe that sort of know my taste, and they knew I liked unique things with some history. And they had two of these, a red one and a blue one. I sent them photos of. These were both made for, and King Edward had them made and had them put into his favorite Bordeaux. And it is said to been able to enable him to have quite a good time. But that's enough about that. Wind it up unless anybody's got any questions. Anybody got any questions? Have them, I'm going to wind it up. Yes, sir.
How long have you been a collector?
A long time. And that's,
At what age did you start?
I have always been a collector of something or another, where it was arrowheads or what it was, so all my life. When did I get into it to the scale that I'm into it now? Over the last, I guess, 10 or 12 years, and more in the last 4 or 5 years in really heavy stuff, because that was about the time I made the decision. As you decorate, our home's been decorated 4 times, and when you start out, you think you're buying something unique, or you think you're buying the best, and after you are in the business a little while, you find out you didn't buy the best. So you store that and you upgrade, and we have now upgraded the house 4 times. Somewhere along all of that, I developed some real passion for history and the historical pieces. So 4 or 5 years ago, I made the decision that any serious money that I spent from that time on, would, regardless what it was, would have to have historical significance. So all my life, but seriously 4 or 5 years.
Do you lease some of these things out? Do you lease some of these things
I
out?
assume you're talking about this thing.
Well,
To answer your question, no, I have not. Now, get his picture. To touch on that a little bit, though, this, of course, this was an old walking horse barn, and I converted it to a sale ring, and we could have stopped there. We did something a little unique because I wanted to try to make it a profit point if I could a little bit, and if it does turn out to be a profit point, it'll be the only profit point on any farm anywhere. You know about that. But so this place will be marketed. It will be leased to major corporations and various civic and government groups for training seminars, for meetings, and use it for parties, barbecues, any reason they want to, but mostly to corporations. Number one, because it's a little high for the average guy, and number two, can you imagine me letting someone have a family reunion in here? So you can sort of see, but we will lease it for Christmas parties, which it's booked pretty good for Christmas party now. We haven't booked New Year's Eve party yet. Lease it for seminars by the day or the week, and we will lease it for as little as 2 hours, which is the use for it 2 hours, $2,500 for a luncheon if somebody wants to do it. Okay?
But you leave all the treasures in here. for New
Everything,
Year's
but I
Eve
just
party.
have people here, and you might think, well, $2,500 for 2 hours, but let me tell you about this guy. Just to get ready for y'all to be here, the cleanup crew alone, and I'm not talking about my hourly people, I'm talking about the cleanup crew we brought in, cost $400. Then you run your heat or your air, whichever the case is, and then when you got a crowd like that in here, I have to have 2 or 3 people in here to sort of monitor what goes on, because a lot of this stuff is too valuable to just let somebody come and pick up. So when you talk about $2,500, it sounds like a lot of money for 2 hours, but there's not much profit in that.
Ronnie, what's your favorite piece? You said
Oh,
downstairs.
my favorite piece is not here, but I'll tell you about it. At the end of the Civil War, Ulysses S. Grant was elected president. And when he went to the White House, he carried with him one of his field generals, and he made him curator for the White House. And one of the first things he was asked to do was to have a big period mirror made, period for the time, but to definitely be American. And so it has United States seal in it, and it's, you look at it, you know the origin and the time. That was made to go into the president's office. It's humongous. It's about 7 foot wide and 11 foot tall. It was made to go over the mantel in the president's office. What makes it so unique is, of course, Ulysses Grant having it made, but then it stayed in the president's office through 8 presidents. Now, it doesn't mean it's that long a period. It was like a 40-year period, but a lot of, if you go back to your history and look, a lot of those 8 presidents, some of them just served a year or so apiece for death, what have you. Anyway, in 1907, Roosevelt decided to remodel the White House, and he is the one who changed the president's office from oblong to oval, as it is today. And doing that, of course, they took down this mirror, and Roosevelt had a real influential friend there in Washington that wanted that mirror. About the same time, Congress passed a bill, 1907, that said nothing else could leave the White House. Anything coming out of the White House that no longer had use there had to go into the White House Museum that had been established. And that law took effect in 1907. We don't know whether that mirror was sold to this friend or given to this friend. And the National Archives can't tell me. But what we do know is that Roosevelt, being Roosevelt, slid that mirror right on that wire, right on the wire for the 1907 law, so it got out before that law took effect. It went into this friend's home, it stayed there until 1936, and all of the family died out. It was left to charity. It was sold at auction, the house and all of its furnishings intact. The people that bought it in 36 owned it and lived there until 2 years ago, and they all died out except for a niece, and they left everything to this niece, and I bought the mirror from the niece. And it is my favorite piece in the world because I've got all kinds of pieces that belong to kings and queens. You know, you got 32 countries that's got kings and queens and monarchies, but you've only got one White House. And to have the last known piece, and the National Archives does say this, it is the last known piece to leave the White House. And to have been there through 8 presidents, starting with Grant and ending with Roosevelt, makes it a pretty unique piece. All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ronnie and Sarah. We'll proceed around. If some of you will help me set up tables and chairs, we will now eat lunch.